Mr. Speaker, squiggle and squirm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig. And that is exactly what the Conservatives are trying to do today. The Conservatives have found themselves unable when it really counted to side with working people. They have been unable to vote for fairness, to vote for the nurse, to vote for the plumber, and now they're evading responsibility for that choice. But we won't let them. We're in favor of fairness, and they are not.
Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. So long, Freeland. She's throwing in the towel. She's resigning from cabinet, saying that she will be running in the next election, though, just doesn't see eye to eye with Trudeau. What has been going on for all of these years? Also, Sean Fraser announces today that he won't be running again in the next election. Why does he keep his cabinet spot? I don't know. Sounds like a pension deal. Anyhow, let's take a look and a listen to what is going on. This government is finally falling on its face. Let's take a look and a listen.
Okay, so breaking news. As we've been listening to Federal Housing Minister Sean Fraser announcing that he is leaving Justin Trudeau's cabinet, a tweet lands that is just shocking.
Yeah, CHRYSTIA Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, putting a letter out saying she is resigning from cabinet. Now, this is just coming into our newsroom. This happened literally a few seconds ago. So we're going to share with you part of what she's saying in this letter to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, saying, on Friday, you told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister and offered me another position in the cabinet. Upon reflection, I have concluded the only honest and viable path is for me to resign from the cabinet. And again, this happening at a time when the housing minister, Sean Fraser, was making this announcement in Ottawa.
Exactly. The letter also goes on to say, for the past number of weeks, you and I have found ourselves at odds about the best path forward for Canada. So again, sort of hinting at the tension which CTV News had confirmed last night between the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister and, of course, Finance Minister. So here we are, Sean Fraser resigning, public remarks, glowing remarks about the time he's had in office. And then at the exact same time, CHRYSTIA Freeland, the now former Finance Minister, former Deputy Prime Minister, announces she's leaving the cabinet, but also at the very end says she plans on running again in the next federal election for her seat in her riding in Toronto. So she wants to stay on.
Like, right? Yeah,
what that looks like, what that means for the Liberal government, that's...
Wow. And this is the day of the economic update in Ottawa. Right. So, I mean, there is certainly a lot going on when it comes to federal politics, and there's going to be so much reaction to this. So, again, breaking news, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, CHRYSTIA Freeland, stepping away from cabinet, really speaking to the fact that she's at odds with the Prime Minister. And we also know Sean Fraser out, you know, he's walking away from his position.
So who reads the update at 4 o'clock this afternoon?
That is a great
question. Would that be CHRYSTIA Freeland or would that be, okay.
All right, so CHRYSTIA Freeland bites the dust. That's good to me. Let me be clear. That's okay with me. Let's take a peek at Sean Fraser now. This is him in action on the House of Commons floor, and then him just losing control, giving up on being an MP. Let's take a look and a listen. This guy is a fool.
Mr. Speaker, no one in this country is choosing to be homeless. No one is choosing to live in an encampment. We know that the cost of housing has gotten too high. That's why we are putting billions of dollars of investments on the table to help build out more affordable housing, to help community entities actually provide services to people who do not have a roof over their head. What's fascinating, Mr. Speaker, is the Conservatives seek to make a joke out of a very serious issue such as homelessness. We're going to be willing to do the hard work to build more homes, including the most vulnerable. And as the jeering continues, Canadians should be ashamed of the behavior of the Conservative Party, who use homeless people as props in this country.
The Housing Minister, Sean Fraser, is speaking. This is amid reports he will not be seeking re-election. Let's listen in there.
Is an interesting 8-year-old that I have ever met. She loves Taylor Swift, learning about ancient civilizations, playing video games, and last week I had the opportunity to watch her welcome hundreds of people to her elementary school's class Christmas concert in what I expect will be the first of many public speaking engagements. We also, a few years ago, welcomed our little boy, Jack Stanford Fraser, into the world. He has become a hilarious, rough and tumble, sweet little guy who loves his mom, monster trucks, showing off his skills on his balance bike to anybody who's going to watch, and roughhousing with his dad. Getting him to put on socks can be hit or miss. I've seen my wife, who is impressive beyond measure and who has borne a disproportionate share of the work in raising our family, not just bring our kids into the world, but also become an incredible and loving mother who would do anything for her children while she still manages to juggle parenting, work, and a PhD to boot. Sarah, you are absolutely incredible, and I love you without end. The past 5 years has had me reflect on what I hope the next 5 years to look like. And I can tell you, more than anything else, I want to spend more time with my kids, and I hope my kids are going to want to spend more time with me. I want meals with Dad to be part of the family's routine as the rule, not just the exception when he's home from Ottawa. I want to be able to make my wife coffee in the morning before she wakes up, and if we get the kids to bed at a reasonable hour, maybe even enjoy a glass of wine over a conversation in the evening. Through the most difficult and joyful personal experiences imaginable, I have become acutely aware of the finite nature of the time that we have with the people that we love. You blink and you miss it. So I'm going to spend a little more time with the people that I care about most. Now I love my job. I'm going to miss it. It's not just the best job I've ever had. It's the best job I can imagine having. It has been the most extraordinary privilege to serve as both the Member of Parliament for the community where I was raised and grew up and the Cabinet Minister for my home province of Nova Scotia. I'm going to miss the work and I'm going to miss the people immensely. The opportunity to help people who make good things happen in your community is incredible. It's like nothing else. The chance to have a positive impact on people's lives, whether at an individual level or on a national scale, is deeply rewarding. I want to say thank you in particular to the Prime Minister for the opportunity to serve. His support for me and for the initiatives that I've worked on over the years has allowed me to have a meaningful impact on my community and the people who call it home. His belief in the work our team was doing has allowed me to move the needle on policies of national importance, particularly those that are directed towards solving the national housing crisis. I want to thank my colleagues who serve in the House of Commons. You are the most interesting group of people I've ever worked with, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have worked alongside you. To my Nova Scotia and Atlantic Caucus colleagues in particular, past and present, you are so much more than co-workers. You are dear friends that I will keep for a lifetime. Never stop pushing for the betterment of Atlantic Canada, and know that I will only ever be a phone call away. Je voudrais remercier aussi mes collègues francophones. Quand j'ai commencé en politique, je ne parle pas un mot en français. Je ne suis pas parfaitement bilingue maintenant, mais je vais continuer mes études en français.
But I will continue studying French. Thank you for the opportunity to speak Moliere's language. That has been an extraordinary gift. To the staff who supported me on Parliament Hill and in my constituency, to those who've worked at home in particular, you've helped thousands of people who are our friends and neighbors realize tangible benefits and address their real concerns that impact their quality of life. I'm grateful for your service to Canada. I want to say thank you in particular to Janet MacDonald, who's been with me from the very start and who I first knew as Mrs. MacDonald back when we met when I was a grade 3 student at Frank H. MacDonald Elementary School, when I happened to be the same age that Molly is today. For those who've helped me navigate life on the Hill, I'm amazed by the impact that each of you has had on our country. The scale of the challenges that we've been wrestling together and the problems that we have worked to solve will be something that you should be proud of for a very long time. I know that I am. I will follow your careers closely, and I consider it an extraordinary professional honor to have served my country with you by my side. I want to thank my Chief of Staff, Savannah DeWolf in particular, who's been with me from my first few weeks as an MP and who has held virtually every position at every level in each of my constituency, Hill, campaign, and minister's offices over the last decade. You are as talented a professional as I have ever worked with in my career and are responsible for just about all the things that went well for me politically over the past 10 years. I also want to thank every volunteer who's given their time, donations, and energy to our campaigns over the last few election cycles. Without your engagement, we would not have had the opportunity to win a riding that has historically been viewed as nearly unwinnable for a Liberal candidate. You'll remember that it was our riding that Brian Mulrooney, who became a friend of mine before he passed, came to sit in and happened to be my first MP, no less, when he became opposition leader and needed a safe constituency for a Conservative in his first campaign as a Member of Parliament. While there's insufficient time to properly thank each of you who've made a contribution over the years, I want to express my profound gratitude to the families of Ray Wegg and Hilary Ammett, both of whom have passed away and who made enormous contributions to our organization on the ground. I miss you both and may never have had the chance to serve in Parliament without your effort and encouragement along the way. Politics is a force for good in this country, and public service matters to our collective well-being. The jobs elected officials have the privilege to hold for however long or short a time are so much bigger than any one person who may come to hold them.
Those who had the opportunity to serve would do well to remember that the highest office holder in our system of government and politics is not the MP, minister, or even prime minister. It's the citizen that we have been elected to serve. It is the people who live in our communities that give us the authority to govern, and to whom we owe a duty to do our very best to make this country a better place to live. The best political education that I've ever received hasn't come from the halls of power on Parliament Hill, but in the church basements, fire halls, wharves, and community centres in small town and rural Nova Scotia.
All right, guys, that's 2 down. How many more to go? Randy Bosno's gone. Like, things are maybe going to improve. We're going to listen to our friend Dr. Jordan Peterson discuss his views on a couple of issues with Trudeau. Let's take a peek at that, then we'll wrap up.
Is Canada on the brink of collapse? Or can new leadership steer the country back from the edge? Dive into this riveting video as Peterson unpacks the harsh truths about Canada's present and its uncertain future.
Poilievre is going to be the next prime minister unless some bloody, completely unforeseen catastrophe occurs, and that strikes me as unlikely. And the Liberals, who are now the socialists, farther to the left than the NDP, who are the actual socialists, they're going to get demolished so hard that they might disappear federally. It's going to be a bloodbath, and it's so well deserved. But, this is a big but, you said, that Biden now has an opportunity in the next 2 months to do the right thing, and maybe he will. Trudeau has a year, and I believe Trudeau is a wounded narcissist. So I thought he was narcissistic right from the beginning. And the reason I believed that was because he had no right to put himself forward as prime minister. He had no resume. He didn't know anything. All he had was a name that he didn't make known. His father did.
Yep.
That's all he had. Well, no,
and he was a drama teacher.
He was also good looking, and he was graceful, and he was charming, and he knew how to behave in public. Like, so
that's run pretty thin though now.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to give the devil his due.
Yeah.
But in terms of competence, that was just completely lacking, and also the ability to see that he didn't have the knowledge or the ability to run a countryside that they're detestable, which is pretty much where Trudeau has got in Canada.
Yeah.
It's very hard for him to go out in public now without people like literally cursing him. Then it's time for revenge. And he's got a bill tabled right now called Bill C-63, which has gone through first reading. So it's on the way to becoming law, it makes Bill C-16, which was the one I objected to, look like child's play. This is the most totalitarian bill I've ever seen a Western country produce by a large margin.
This is about registering the news organization.
My name's Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come and join us for one of the live shows. Dr. Jordan Peterson is fun to watch. Glad CHRYSTIA is gone. Sean Fraser's a loser. So long. Sayonara. Good night. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching this video. 2 more down, many more to go. Let's get that election, guys. Aaron, Canadian Looney, thanks for watching, gang. Catch you next video. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.